Lucky has said that no one in the organization backed him up. Essentially, he feels like they thought he was lying. Pablo, how bad do the Cowboys look in this situation?
It's really interesting because I think of this from the perspective, as we must all consider, of Jerry Jones. And Jerry Jones has been hearing one particular message from all of us people, and that is he's not tough enough on those who misbehave. You look at Josh Brent, you look at Greg Hardy, you go on down the line through the great Cowboys teams of yore. And the fact is, Jerry Jones, for whatever reason, decided to get tough on crime in this instance. And so when you go back and read what Jerry Jones is saying to us now, it's basically along the lines of, I can't win with you people. I did the thing you wanted me to do, and it turns out that that was the one case where the police report actually was not trustworthy, and therefore we look like we have egg on our faces. But why should I, Jerry Jones, have to apologize? For me, I'm sympathetic to a dude who got his social security number stolen. I mean, like, he should be concerned about his credit score. I feel very bad for Lucky Whitehead. I'm less sympathetic to Jerry Jones because the real explanation for why he can say all those things, it's because talent is what matters here.
Yeah,
it's not anything else but talent. That gives you the long leash. And Lucky Whitehead doesn't have that talent.
Well, it does run a 4.3, right? Like, that's the thing. What they did was they drafted his replacement, and that's the first thing we see. They drafted Ryan Switzer, who people expect to do a lot of the Lucky Whitehead things. But Jerry gets a great big old, we don't believe you, you need more people. If the thing is, you finally wanted me to be tough, right? Because they just had the rookie defensive back who was found not guilty of domestic violence, which, okay, cool, you go ahead and keep him. But here's the thing. You took the time to find this out. Now, I admit that when Lucky Whitehead came with the shaggy defensive, it was not me. I did not believe him at all. Like, they can say you were shoplifting. Wasn't me, right? And it doesn't help that Joseph Randall had gotten busted for shoplifting before, so suddenly this seemed to be plausible. So I feel bad because I totally thought that this dude had done this, and then it turns out he wasn't there at all. Jerry and those boys didn't give it a day to find that out. So, like, Lucky Whitehead, I get that you're offended. They thought you were lying. Problem is everybody else thought you were lying. Like, I think we get this. But Jerry Jones, who has had all the patience in the world with all these different dudes, now shoplifting is a scourge that we absolutely cannot tolerate, right? Like, when you're afraid he's going to start stealing boxes of paper out of the room right there. So this is the guy that you can't have around there. So I feel bad for Whitehead, except he's going to wind up getting another job. I'm pretty sure about this. But it is interesting that now would be the time that they look at the line and say, we're going to send a message to shoplifters.
And we should be clear, like, I don't think many people believed Lucky Whitehead. Even the most generously minded pro-player people heard that excuse and maybe thought to themselves, this sounds a lot like when players say, I was hacked. I was hacked. It wasn't me. I was hacked. And then it turns out that, okay, wait, he is the one guy who may have legitimately been hacked outside of our, of course, political system. But in terms of athletes making this excuse, that is something that, he's not going to listen to.
It won't be hard for him to find out who did this either, because they used his government name, which none of us know, which is Rodney. There's a select number of people who know that Rodney Whitehead is Lucky Whitehead, and I bet some of them's last names are Whitehead. It will not be hard to figure out where this happened.
To his credit, he did say, not only was it not me, but I wasn't even there because I was on a plane somewhere else hours earlier or hours afterward. And yet, what else could he have said? Without doing a formal investigation himself, he basically was like, this is what I got.
If it's not me, the only answer is, it wasn't me. That's the only choice you've got.
He is somehow the boy who cried wolf, except he is basically representing an entire class of boys. It wasn't actually him who had done it before. It's all of his peers and colleagues who had made very flimsy excuses that none of us believed. We should also point out, by the way, the dude had, like, his dog stolen at one point this month.
It's time for a new nickname.
Yeah, either he is not lucky or there is something weird going on with how he operates in his life that makes him vulnerable to all sorts of predatory behavior.
The hypocrisy of clinging to due process when it relates to other athletes, and then in this instance feeling like you needed to be very trigger happy, is, I think, what a lot of people are raising their eyebrows.
But just admit, I don't have a problem with the idea that talent wins out. Like, it's all a cost-benefit analysis. All of these things are going to go that way. So you don't have to lie to me about this one. You thought Greg Hardy could be a dominant pass rusher. There are a few of those, so you brought him in and you gave him a contract that only paid him by the game. I can understand that, reprehensible though many people find it to be. You decide Ezekiel Elliott is worth your patience. I can understand all of that too. If that's the case here, that Lucky Whitehead just wasn't good enough for you to keep, I can understand that and I can live with it, but just don't pretend like it's anything else.
Right?
Fascinating. Well, we'll be keeping our eye on Lucky to see if he does end up with another team. Is lucky enough to end up with another team.